on doing product development and design reviews, and being very technical from the early days, because that tends to be one of the things that one of the pitfalls that hardware startups face, once they are trying to scale, and get so, things I'll talk about today are hopefully applicable for all of you, but from kind of a hardware product perspective.
Right, and you're a mechanical engineer?
Yes.
Okay. And you're a computer scientist?
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
So, who has not read, either the Lean Startup or, Startup, Steve Lang's, So yeah, so the search for a product market fit clearly is just search for a repeatable business model, and all this lean stuff is just a framework to think about how we get there. Pre-product market fit, this is really hypothesis-driven search. You're trying to figure out who your customers are, how they solve the existing problem. If you're at this stage, you're looking at a core group of customers that intimately understand what you're looking for. The problem you're solving is really painful. They've hacked together solutions already. You have a mental model of their behaviors that helps you guide your product development and other business model decisions. I want to, the caveat here is that a lot of people say, you need to go interview 100 users. That's probably a good, metric to search for. But at least on the physical product development side, it's really hard to do that. It's really hard to get your product in the hands of 100 people. We find about 30 people tends to be like fairly relevant and statistically relevant. And it's not like 30 random people. It's 30 people who are your core user demographic, who are exactly the people you think you're going to be selling it to. And the story here, the point here is not about quantitative. This is how long they spent with my product, and this is how much they're going to pay, and kind of all these like granular things. It's about building a story. It's about building anecdotes. It's about understanding behaviors and having a mental model in your head of how they solve the problem currently and how they're thinking about how painful it is. And so that as you progress and do product development, this kind of guides your thinking. A note from the hardware side: a lot of people mistake big crowdfunding campaigns as companies that have reached product market fit. That's not true. Big crowdfunding campaigns are evidence of problem solution fit. They give you feedback on how many people would pay to solve a problem you're addressing, not if your product actually does it. Common, to use an example here, Ouya, if you're familiar with, indie gaming console, a couple years ago raised over $8 million, delivered the first units. It worked, but people weren't really happy with it. They didn't feel like it resonated with them. Today, it was recently announced that some of their venture debt got called. Investors are going to pretty much lose all their money. Just because they had this like massive runway success and shipped product does not mean that we're on the path to building a scalable.
Yes. And so was it a false positive where the investors sort of overreacted and paid a premium? And
I think when you do a crowdfunding campaign, people it's the only time in your company's history that people are going to watch a 3-minute video of you marketing to them. That's never going to happen again. And so they identify with the problem that you're pitching to them, but whether your product actually solves that, who the hell knows? It depends on the delivery. So Coolest Cooler here is still like not delivered yet, and we'll see if they can do it. It's the probably people are expecting very different things here. And so the caution on crowdfunding is that if you mistake crowdfunding with customer development, you're going out there publicly and saying, this is what I'm doing, without having the background of mental models and research. And once it's out there publicly, there's so much inertia to change the implement. And so if you find out through customer interviews down the road that like really this feature shouldn't have been in there, our business model should be different. You've already had millions of press articles written about you, and this is what you do, and it's near impossible to change it from there.
So Chris, in this round then, so we have Pebble, which raised about 8 or 9 on their first round.
Sure.
And then came back and raised 21 or 22 in the second go. Right?
Sure.
So is the second go much more of a product market fit because they've proven problem solution fit, or how do you think about sort of the second raise in crowdfunding?
I mean, we think of crowdfunding in general as industrializing the product launch process.
Okay.
It doesn't really fit necessarily into the like lean development methodology. It's an amazing tool for product launches, but shouldn't be so a lot of people talk about the product part of this, and there's a lot of tools to help you with MVPs, and in hardware we talk about looks like and works like prototypes. A lot of entrepreneurs we talk to think less strategically about the market side of this, and so just a couple comments here. Are you entering an existing market, a new market, or are you resegmenting market? Particularly in the hardware space, there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are entering new markets and new product categories, and that's very difficult, especially because in hardware the distribution mechanisms are highly dependent on what product category you're in. Thinking about where is your product going to go in Best Buy? Where's your product going to go through Amazon? Do they have to create a new section for you? Do they have to retrain associates to sell your product? That has a significant impact on your distribution and the cost structure of your company. The famous Sequoia question, why now? Why is this company being built now versus 5 years ago versus 5 years in the future? And especially tech entrepreneurs have tech problems and tend to start businesses around those tech problems. There's a lot of interesting opportunities in the problem set and the problem spaces that maybe the typical tech demographic is not familiar with. So we're very interested in companies in construction and industry and these kind of like less these industries that tech founders have less experience in maybe because some of those problems are less explored. And one way to think about this is this concept of the adjacent possible. Just like some products are technically impossible to build, maybe in the future, but currently like they just can't be built. The market is also that way as well. Is your company in the adjacent possible? Is your market in the adjacent possible? Are people used to buying a product like yours? And what are the behaviors around buying that product? Are you forcing people to create new behaviors to reach your product? Are there existing distribution channels? All these kind of and so, the previous presentation mentioned a little bit about this 80% status quo, 20% innovation. I think that's a powerful model to think about, your product innovation. People are used to buying thermostats. People are used to buying watches. Right. The iPod was not the first MP3 player. Facebook was not the first social network. Google was not the first search engine. All these things, they were products and product categories that were existing that people understood, and so that product category was kind of poised for scalability. There's here in hardware, people talk about wearables a lot. This is a gesture control armband from an awesome company in Canada. This is a meditation, like brainwave sensing headset. They're really, really cool products, like amazing product design. They executed really well, but no one understands what any of those things are. There's not existing categories on Amazon to sell them. They are struggling really, really hard to scale because there's so much customer education involved. The same is true for B2B. I mean, if you're building a B2B business, is there an existing budget in someone's line item to pay for your product? Or do they have to put it into the budget for the next year? How much customer education are you going to do? There's these top 10 lists, the best wearables of 2015. I don't know what a wearable is, but I know what a smartwatch is. There's one caveat here, which is that because of the internet and crowdfunding and these industrialized pre-order mechanisms, it is, I think, for certain product categories far easier to launch a new product category than it used to be. But if you're B2B, maybe if you're a software business, these tools aren't as available to you. So if you are going into a new product category, just be very, very wary, especially of market timing and especially in terms of fundraising, because there's so much early stage seed money out there today. How long is it? Do you really have to exist before product market fit? People talk about raising 18 months of runway. If you're entering a new product category, you might want to double or triple that, or figure out how to bootstrap in the early days just to stick around long enough to catch the market timing. If you're entering an existing product category, that may be less relevant.
This is an interesting one because it's an exception, but it has some unique characteristics. Like the first head-mounted display came out in the 90s, right? So people have seen it in movies, VR was gonna be it in the nineties, and now we're 20 years later,
Yeah.
the tech's there, and it probably will be here now, and everybody's talking about it, and these guys were right on the forefront of it, but
Yeah.
people were somewhat, this was new, and,
Yeah.
but there was definitely 20 years of groundwork.
And how many VR companies are still around with that age?
Yeah, zero, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft put the first tablet out in the market in '91.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's also that level of experience.
So, that's it. Couple of books that I recommend. Think about hard things, computer tools.
So, while Owen plugs in, I like Pullman like the one, just if you can, without sharing anything that's proprietary. You've made 18